Ahoy, everyone. This is David Eugene Perry. And behind me is beautiful Orvieto, Italy, an incredible mountaintop town in Umbria. And usually on these interviews, I'm interviewing someone. But today the tables are turned. VJ Hume, known to Coachella Valley readers and audience members, is one of the best writers, one of the most beautiful songstresses I know, and she has read my new critically acclaimed novel, Upon This Rock, and she asked if she could interview me. So the tables are turned today. So I now turn it over to VJ Hume. VJ, thanks for doing the interview.
Thank you so much, David. It is a pleasure and an honor. This is a great book. You have worked so hard at this and done so much research. I hope everybody will pick up a copy because it has a lot of information that nobody knows. I didn't even know for sure if Orvieto was real.
Well, it is. And of course, over my shoulder, this is obviously a virtual background, but that is the hilltop town of Orvieto.
It is amazing. And the way you describe it, we get to know all the streets. I thought I could actually see it in my mind, the map of the town where the streets intersected and so on. It was just beautiful, just beautiful. And that cliff behind you, it figures in the book also.
Yes, very prominently. So don't give it away. It's a mystery.
No, I will. And it is, as you say, it is fiction, but it all happened.
Well, the book, it's a fiction, yes. It's a mystery thriller, but it is based on a real incident. When my husband Alfredo and I first went to Orvieto in 2014, we stumbled across a real story that moved me a great deal. There was a young Catholic deacon, Lucas Sedeta, who was about 10 days away from being ordained a priest. And the Vatican intervened, which is very unusual, and denied his ordination. They actually sent him a fax. And he was so distraught, he threw himself from the cliffs in Orvieto and killed himself. And we arrived on the actual anniversary of his death. And what I found incredible was 4 years on, the town was still talking about it. And I just became obsessed with the real life story. And one day, the idea for a novel literally just dropped in my brain, fully formed. And I spent the next 3 months working on it, wrote about 65% of it. And over the next 2 years, finished it. I finished it in August 2018, got a contract with Quilldriver Books in January last year. And just this month, it's published, and it's been getting great reviews. Armistead Maupin called it an elegant, twisty thriller. Fenton Johnson said it was the gay Da Vinci Code, but a whole lot better. I've been very lucky. People seem to like it. And it, for me, was a real labor of love because Orvieto is a very special place, and history, all history fascinates me, but the amount of history in Orvieto, whether it's from the Etruscan era, the Roman era, World War II under the Nazi occupation and controlled by the fascists, and into the present day. There's so much rich history there that I'm hoping that my fictional account of what happened will lead people to go back to Orvieto and visit.
Well, I'm sure they will. I can't wait to see it now as soon as we get to be traveling again. But it is a labor of love because, as you said, your research is prodigious. I mean, you bounce back and forth almost like a movie between the 1500s and between 2013, which is when the book starts. And that is, for us, an important time also. But you go back to Pope Clemente. Am I saying it correctly?
You are. One of the things I found fascinating about Orvieto was the history of the papacy there. It was a part of the papal states. And throughout the Middle Ages, popes would get in trouble in Rome and they'd have to flee. And in 1527, the sack of Rome literally chased Pope Clement VII, the Medici Pope, from Rome to Orvieto. And he was actually in Orvieto when the ambassadors from England came to request a divorce between Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon. And the part of the book that takes place in 2013 also deals with a conflict between the Catholic and Anglican Church. So I found this schism between religions separated by 500 years very compelling. And the more research I did, the more fascinated I became. So as I said, it's fiction, it's a mystery thriller, but if you read a date in the book, or you see something that happened in World War II, or you read something about Pope Clemente, it actually happened. I spent a lot of time researching, and it's part history, part mystery, but all a love song to Orvieto.
How wonderful. And also, you give us a very charming view of a relationship that is working. Lee, who is the hero, and Adriano, his partner, have a lovely relationship. And the banter between them, and of course, you managed to cover a lot of history and make it palatable rather than, just droning on and on like our history teachers used to do. By a conversation between them very often, where one of them doesn't know something, so the other gets to tell them about it. And sometimes the tables are turned on that too. So they both teach each other what they know.
Well, thanks for that, because I do love history. And someone asked me, "Oh, is this a deadly serious read?" I said, "Well, it deals with serious issues. I mean, the overall arching theme is refugees. Everyone in the book is a refugee. Lee is a refugee from, well, you learn in the book, just a horrible family occurrence that I don't want to give away. Adriano is a refugee from his overly Catholic family. Clement, the Pope, is a refugee from Rome. And then, of course, you have the real character of Dawood, a refugee along with his sister from the war in Libya. And when we first went to Orvieto, you could not escape the refugee crisis. There were people every day coming ashore in Italy, people who had fled war-torn Africa. And that summer, following our first year there, 2015, over 2,000 people died drowning trying to get to Orvieto. So the real life occurrences and the history work their way into the novel, but it's hopefully a light read. Someone said that Lee and Adriano reminded them of a gay version of Myrna Loy, the Thin Man series during the 30s, Nick and Nora Charles. And that pleased me, because that was kind of the idea, that
Absolutely.
I wanted the conversation to be like real couples spoke.
It came out that way very much, in a very easy relationship where the work is divided up, who makes breakfast and who brings it and all that sort of thing. It's very charming. I like your touch of humor that you insert occasionally too. The first time I laughed out loud was when you invented the word cathalophobic.
Yes, that is an invention.
I had never heard that before. You invented another word too, gorishness. I don't think that word exists. Didn't you exist?
Yes.
Did you create that word, gorishness? It's definitely a keeper. So there are these little charming bits of humor which help to counterpoint the seriousness of what's happening. And we're dealing with life and death issues here.
This issue touches on human trafficking, which also exists. You can, on the back roads of Italy, often you will see young women, young girls, who have been trafficked from Africa, and they spend their lives as prostitutes along the roadsides. And of course, they paid everything they had to get out of Africa, out of Libya, and they were promised jobs, maybe as a maid or maybe working in a cafe, and they get there and they become human slaves. So the serious background is very true and based in fact, but I hope it's told in a way that makes everyone aware of what's going on, but not scared to read on.
Absolutely. Well, you constantly tell us about the wonderful food, which you obviously enjoyed tremendously, and even the coffee and the drinks and so on, and also the charm of the Italian people. That comes up quite a bit, and even the cats are charming.
Well, yes, and of course, as you know, without giving away the plot, there is a cat who is very important to the story. I really don't want to give that away, but yes, there's a cat that is very important in the story, and the love of Italy really, I hope, comes out. Alfredo and I really consider Orvieto our second home, and we were supposed to be there right now, launching the book in Italy, but of course, because of COVID, we're not able to go. So hopefully, this book will bring Orvieto to people. And early on, Italy suffered greatly during COVID. And really? So did Spain, my husband Alfredo's home. So my hope is that in a few months, when things are more sustainable, that people will discover Orvieto through my book. I'm really trying to get optioned for a film. Many people say the book reads like a movie.
It does.
Nothing would make me happier than to see Upon This Rock made into a film or a Netflix series and shot in Orvieto. I really want my book to bring back tourists to Orvieto.
Has it been translated into Italian?
Not yet. So my publisher, Quilldriver Books, small press out of Fresno, California, is negotiating right now with European rights. And our hope is to have it translated early next year into Italian and to Spanish.
Well, we certainly wish you luck with it. It is a wonderful book. It's about 400 pages, and it does have a very movie-like quality. And like I said, the touches of humor are very charming also. Things like he tried not to look like an American was one of my favorite lines. And I've seen Americans doing that, actually. And it is a delightful historical novel. And I had never experienced anything quite like this because of your historical research and the bouncing back and forth over hundreds of years, which it really teaches us a great deal, and also teaches us a lot. You know a great deal about the Vatican and about the popes and about the costuming and about the Swiss guards who come into it quite a bit.
Yes, especially there's one Swiss guard that I think a lot of people have been. I have several friends have asked me if they do make a movie, they want to know who's going to be cast as Grigori. He's quite a sexy.
Who do you see?
Yes. Who do I see? Someone asked me that, and I said, I think I would see Channing Tatum during his Magic Mike days, but now he may be a little old to play Grigori, but someone like that.
Well, it's interesting, and you do describe your characters in a way that makes them come to life. I remember asking somebody once, what is good writing? And they said, good writing is writing that makes you see. And I very much saw all your people. You describe them very well. You have great descriptive qualities in your writing. Is this the beginning of a series?
Well, it's funny. It's funny you asked that. The answer is yes. After I finished this, I knew that the characters of Lee and Adriano would continue, and there would be a reference to Orvieto. But the idea for another book actually has 3 locations. It includes Palm Springs, aboard ship, and Spain. And I was just beginning to work on this when COVID hit.
Oh.
And I don't know about you, VJ, but during these strangest of the last 7 months, I found it hard to do writing. I feel like I can't write about this because I'm too busy living through it like we all are. So I didn't start yet, but I've been making notes. And I don't want the next book to be about COVID.
Okay.
But I don't think that I can tell the story of these characters without referencing it. So I believe the next book, which will be a sequel, starts sometime this year as we're living with COVID and getting out of it. And as you know, in the book, I did put an author's note. The book went to print in August this year, just a couple months ago. Right. So I did include an author's note, a tribute to the people of Spain and Italy who have suffered so much during COVID.
Well, we all have in our own ways, and yet it's been good for some people as well. So you never know.
Well, you know, as I heard someone say a few months ago, we're not all in the same boat, but we are all in the same storm. And here we have been affected by this pandemic. We speak with Alfredo's parents and his brother in Spain every day by Skype. We're in touch with our friends in Orvieto. And there has been a silver lining of a sort. The connections I've experienced, at least, over the last few months with some people that maybe you would pass on the street or see in a theater lobby like you and just say, oh, VJ, how are you? And those words, how are you, used to be just a pass off. But I think during COVID, when we get a chance to actually speak with someone, and we really want to know, how are you? How have you been during all of this? So I'm hoping that my book will give people a sense of the real love of the Italian people and how much they've gone through.
And an homage to Zoom too, I hope. I mean, that has been my social life for the past many months. And actually, I like it better because you can look right into somebody's eyes. If you're sitting beside somebody in a car or at a meeting of some sort, and they're talking, when you only get to see part of their head.
Yeah.
But this way, everybody sees eyeball to eyeball, and you can read people a lot better. And also, it's a great time saver.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
We are the Zoom. We are the Zoom generation.
we are indeed. So an homage to Zoom, please. I think it's wonderful, and it has preserved and saved a lot of relationships. And David, I hope everybody will get a copy of your book, Upon This Rock. Where can they find it?
Well, thank you very much. You can go online to Amazon or Barnes & Noble, Target, Quilldriver Books. There's several sites. And of course, if you go to my Facebook page, which is Facebook/David Perry SF, there's a link to it, or you can find on Facebook Upon This Rock Orvieto. And please like it. And it will be in your hands in a few days. You can get the print version, or people who like electronic books, you can also download it instantly from Kindle. And I hope people enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed writing it.
You're so high tech. Thank you for writing this book, because there are people who are saying that books are going out of fashion and that libraries are closing and all that sort of thing. So I love books. My sister was a librarian, my brother's an author, and we're all bookophiles, bookworms in our family. And my dad wrote 3 books as well. So books are a big part of our lives.
Oh, well, please send me the information on your father's book and your brother's book. Authors need to support each other.
They did. Okay, very good. We will.
And I'm hoping very, very soon we will be doing, when things are more open, I will be doing some book signings and book readings here in Palm Springs.
Please let us know.
Thank you, VJ, for interviewing me.
Thank you, David. You're a wonderful interviewer and a wonderful author. Thanks so much.
Ahoy, everyone.